Welcome back to episode 2, season 2 of The Garden Dirt. We have very, very special guests for you guys. We have our head grower, Bob, our greenhouse manager. You know him, you love him.
There you
He, kn-
go.
he knows all things. We have Sharon, who is also one of our growers, and she also is just a wealth of knowledge, knows so much about trees, shrubs, perennials, pretty much everything else, like vegetables, herbs, annuals. You name it, they know it. So we are so, so, so happy to have them here. So to get started off, tell the people about yourself. So if one of you wants to kind of start off with just how you even got into gardening in the first place and kind of give a brief history of how you got to where you are now. I do have to say, to preface, Sharon is really struggling today with her voice, which is great timing for a podcast. But
So you'll hear it here and maybe not.
so we're just going to do our best. She's a little sick right now, but this is our only time to record it. So hit it, Sharon.
Well, I was born on a farm. And so any farm kid is always going to have your hands in dirt. And my grandparents had this huge garden, and so did my mom. So I think I was kind of born to pull the weeds. So, but I've developed a love for gardening and eating fresh vegetables and just producing from seed to, the market, to my table, to anybody else's table, even to the food bank. So I love to give the fruit and vegetables that I grow, and I love to consume.
Yeah, I was going to say Sharon is known for like bringing us the extras from her garden because in usually like August time, I feel like we just have like boxes up front of stuff from Sharon's garden. And so sometimes if you come in, you're lucky, we even hand them out to our guests.
That's
So
right. Lots of cucumbers.
yeah, yeah. So what about you, Bob?
Okay, so I started gardening when I was 7. I had my first vegetable garden. My grandma that lived right next door to us helped me with that, and that's how I got started. Been in the industry 40 plus years. Oh, the other thing about early on is I would frequent a greenhouse in the town that I grew up in. And one day, spring day, I was there, and the owner said, "You're in here all the time. Do you want a job?"
Like you want to just get paid to be here?
Back then, it's like, well, I have to ask my mom and dad first. And so that's how I got started in the industry and loved it. Been working in it all my life.
Nice, nice. I love it. And now you've been here for 20, is this your 25th season then?
This will be 26.
26.
Wow.
Okay. Okay. So this is Bob's 26th season here. And then Sharon, how long? 8. She's just going to sign language things to us. So Sharon actually was at PEX for how long?
26.
26 years. Oh my gosh. And then,
Yeah.
so unfortunately PEX ended up closing, but we were fortunate enough to get Sharon on our team. So she just comes with a wealth of knowledge. She's been in the industry for a very long time too. So just has a lot of experience. Today, we're talking mostly about vegetable gardening and just kind of like prepping your gardens for the spring. So what made you interested in vegetable gardening specifically?
Well, I love vegetables and some of the things that you buy at the store, and, I'm not kind of going to dog
Yeah.
retailers right now, but aren't good.
Yeah.
Like, especially things like tomatoes. Just, if you buy them at the store, they just don't have that full flavor that they should. The texture is weird. They're just wet. And like green beans too is another thing. I've tried green beans out of the vegetable department at the store, and they're hard. You can cook them forever and they still seem hard. So it's nice to have fresh stuff.
What about you?
I think family time, because I'd be with my mom and my dad or my grandparents. And, you got some attention when you're out there with them in the garden. But laying down those little zinnia seeds, an inch apart, it seemed like all the way around the garden because we needed the pollinators. And so my grandma's garden was, surrounded by zinnias.
Oh, that's
So-
awesome. I feel so bad for you every time you talk.
One thing with Sharon saying that about planting zinnias around the garden, so that is not only looks good, but it attracts pollinators, which is hugely important because over the past few years, pollinators have kind of, really declined.
Mm-hmm.
And people are having trouble with cucumbers and squash pollinating. So definitely a plus.
Yeah. How long have you guys been growing plants professionally? I know we talked about you guys both started off with gardens at your house. How long have you been? You said you've been in the industry like over 40 years then?
Yeah.
And then what about you?
Well, professionally, since 1991, because I worked at Farmstead
Oh,
as a
nice.
quality insurance inspector, and it closed, and so I found PEX, and they offered me a job, and I've been growing since. Yeah,
So did you guys always know you wanted to work in horticulture then?
Yes.
Yeah.
out of Iowa State, with the hort industry and the agronomy. So
Yeah.
yeah, I
Nice.
think it's just, I don't know, who can't love the color green?
Right.
And
So
it's very satisfying.
Yeah. So speaking of, I lately have just been like, because we're in their growing season right now. Like we're in the heat of it right now, and there's so much going on. And when I walk around, Sharon and I were just talking about this morning because Carol was talking about how cool it is and how she wants to show her friends. And we just did greenhouse tours last week, and people learned so much at Drinks in the Dirt. And I just like walk around and I look at everything, and I'm like, why are we not freaking out about this? Like, this is the coolest thing ever. We are growing things from either little plugs, little seeds, and just hand planted, hand watered, hand pinched, hand cared for, everything. And I'm just like, this is literally amazing. So can you guys kind of give us, I know it's impossible to really share fully what you do day to day, but kind of just a little insight on what your day to day in the growing houses looks like?
So I do some watering, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
watering, a lot of checking on things, just kind of touring through all the hoop houses, the Ludi, A through F, just checking out, make sure everything's going well. We do, unfortunately, we have to spray sometime for
Mm-hmm.
insects, which is a challenging and not so fun part of the job, but it has to be done. But just general watching and keeping an eye on things.
Tell us a little bit about like the process, like the very dumbed down version, I guess, because I know it's so much, it's so intricate, but like you order all
Okay,
the plants.
yeah, so I'm probably going to go into too much detail.
It's fine. You do what you
So
want to do.
we get our most of our plants in as little tiny things. They come in little plug trays. They can be anywhere from 288 in a plug tray to 50 in a plug tray, depending on what kind of plant it is. So then we take those plants and plant them in the pots that you're going to buy them from. Now, where do these little cuttings come from? All over the world, Venezuela, Bolivia, lots of places in Central America, obviously. Some things come from Israel. A lot of the
Really?
geranium cuttings come from Israel. So they come here offshore without roots. They're just cuttings. There's rooting stations all over the United States. We have one here in Iowa we do quite a bit of business with. And then, like I said, we get these little tiny baby plants in, plant them in pots, grow them, and have them ready for you in May.
Nice. I didn't even know they came from all over the world like
Yeah.
that.
Now, in some things, that are from seed, that stuff's usually grown here in the United States, but the cuttings are.
I want to shout out to like you guys in our growing team that people don't always think about is every single pot has to be ordered, filled with dirt. Every single, like you have to separate all the plastic pots into trays. And then we were printing a ton of stickers for perennials this morning for this price tags. And you guys get tags in for all of your plants. You
Right.
have to put the tag saying what it is in every single thing. And we grow how many plants? Over 100,000.
Over 100,000. I was thinking
Yeah.
about that the other day, and it's because it's like just in 4.5-inch pots, we're at about 62,000.
Yeah.
And then, there's stuff in 6-packs. There's stuff,
Hanging baskets.
hanging baskets with
Isn't it like 2,000 hanging baskets alone?
4,000
4,000 hanging
over the
baskets
year.
alone.
we got
that
muscle.
Yes.
includes, doing some houseplant ones too. So
Yeah.
Yes, hanging those, is a lot of work.
So how many right now
I would guess
or are here right now?
Well, all 10 aren't here all the same time.
Yeah.
Because, people, the whole workforce has evolved over the years. It used to be people come in, work 5 days a week, and now there's a few of us that are here
Yeah.
5 days plus.
Yeah.
It's usually 2 or 3 days here, 2 or 3 days there.
So you have essentially, well, less than 10 for sure, less than 10 full-time, responsible for over 100,000 plants. I just think that's so incredible, and I'll never get over it. No matter how long I'm here, I'll never get over it.
You almost have to be like a traffic director.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
It's truly, it's
Just think
incredible.
that one step ahead.
Yeah.
It's like this plant has to go here, and then I need these other 5 to go next to it. just so it makes it easier for our coworkers to come up and, resupply.
Right. Do you guys know roughly how many vegetables you grow a year? Since we're kind of talking about vegetables today.
Oh, wow. I don't know. This year it should be more. Just
I
because.
I would have guessed maybe 1,000 flats of vegetables.
Oh,
Yeah, maybe like
And that's 1,000
how many
flats.
onions do we have
Well,
right now?
see, there's that. There's probably
I know there was like
40,
75
but
of.
yeah, I'm going to guess 60 flats of onions alone.
Oh, I'm going to.
So if you're doing
I
like
think more.
1,000 flats and then times how many do you put in there? 8? If there's 6 packs or
Strangely enough, like the onions, there's multiple plants in a cell. They're in 6 packs, but there's multiple plants in a cell. So
is it fair to say, this is a total guess based on what you're saying, but that in individual vegetables, 20,000 roughly?
Oh yeah,
veggies and herbs.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's
herbs
amazing.
are a huge thing. I'm always, once we get them planted and they're all on the floor in the lutein, it's like
they look so like
it looks
mesmerizing.
like so much, and then we sell them all, and it's like, wow.
You're like, oh, all my work out the door.
Yeah,
which is fine.
Well,
like that's the goal, but
yeah, that's the cool thing about it too, is that the turnaround. It keeps it interesting because it changes all the time.
Yeah,
and it's very gratifying seeing empty greenhouses after we've grown it all.
Yeah,
but then you're off onto the next project.
What's like one of the trickiest crops for you guys to grow well in the greenhouse? Is there something that needs that's a little more high maintenance than others for veggies?
Well, veggies are pretty easy. The thing I think that we struggle with are probably pour the most time into dahlias.
Yeah,
too much water.
Dahlias are, they're beautiful, but they are very specific about, like Sharon just said, watering. If they get too dry, they're not happy. If they're too wet, they're really not happy. So they're probably the highest maintenance thing, I think.
We talk a lot about how, so a lot of retailers, a lot of times will order in plants, turn them over quickly, send them out. And we talked about last season kind of about how we grow and we're in the production space too. So we essentially are our own wholesaler. And so doing that and talking about growing over 100,000 plants, and it takes a lot of planning and everything's so down to a science. What is something that people might not realize about growing vegetables commercially like we're doing?
So to me, a backyard gardener, and this is what kind of jumping into two subjects here.
No, that's fine.
Starting seeds yourself versus buying them here. If you're a backyard gardener, I would say just come and buy the plants.
Yeah.
Here. I mean, you only need a couple plants of each thing. If you're going to be doing farmers markets or something like that, and you're growing on a bigger scale, yeah, you might want to start your seeds in. It's probably going to be more economical. But do you feel the same way?
I do, but I mean, if I just want 6 kohlrabi, fine. But if I want more, I'm going to go with seeds.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
every once in a while, we'll get somebody.
So we sell both seeds and the plants. So I guess what's the difference between?
Well, it's just faster turnaround when you start out with plants. And especially when you talk about like tomatoes and things like that. Again, too, you can start them inside, but you're going to get a better quality plant from us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Otherwise, inside they get leggy.
They get leggy and gross, and by the time you get them outside and they recover from their leggy grossness, you're better off starting out with one of our nice stocky plants.
That's right.
Yeah, and I noticed we don't sell a lot of tomato, or hardly any tomato seeds inside, but we do sell a lot of beans. Let's talk about that. Why don't we grow beans, and why do you do them in seeds?
Yeah, there are some things that are just best off. And we do have people that come in and want bean plants, but it always makes me kind of chuckle inside. And they don't know.
Well, I don't know. I'm like, why does that make you chuckle?
Things like radishes are best Drexo. Beans, best Drexo. Beets, Drexo. Turnips, yeah. There's a lot of things that are Drexo right to the ground.
Okay.
The gold green beans.
Yeah.
Oh, they're so good.
You guys both spend all day growing plants, taking care of plants. That is literally your full-time job is working with customers, of course, but then also taking care of all of the plants, watching out for things that might be off and fixing those. So you guys obviously have a wealth of knowledge in this regard. And like you were just saying, some people who just come in and just like don't know certain things. What would you tell someone if they came in and said, like, where do I even start? Like, I'm new to gardening. Where do I even start?
I'd say start small and go
Start small.
successful, and then you can enlarge.
Yeah, like a 10 by 10 area. Start out with that, because gardening, you got to be out there. You got to be pulling weeds, and if you're not going to be out there doing that kind of thing, don't do it.
Because I think what we've seen in the past is a lot of people get really excited and they're like, okay, I'm going to be a full-blown gardener. I'm going to grow my own food, which is great. I love like the energy and passion towards that. But I think they sometimes start off too big and then overwhelm themselves and can't keep up with everything and then just eventually give up.
Yeah. Well, and when we were just talking about that, it reminded me of there's several city plots that are around where people can garden if they don't have room in the backyard. And they always look good in the beginning of the season, and they're out there. Yeah, right. Then it's horse weeds. You can't see any plants. That's why it's just like I said, you need to be out there weeding. And the other thing too so let's just talk about a garden prep really short here.
Yeah.
Sod removal.
Is that what you were saying?
Say sun.
Oh,
Yeah,
sun.
well, sun.
Sun and sod.
So yeah, sod removal is essential. You don't want to turn it over and think, oh, it's going to rot, because it's chock full of weed seeds that are just waiting for an opportunity to come up. So get rid of the sod. Sun, a garden needs a full day of sun, at least 3/4 of a day. The more sun, the better. I always like to see gardens on a slope, not a big slope, but just a little bit of slope, so you have good drainage, because there's no vegetables that like wet feet.
Is there any vegetables that can do less sun? Or is it like they're all pretty much full sun?
They're all pretty much full sun.
Okay. That's good to know.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen people do some like leafy vegetables and parched, but they don't look good.
Yeah.
So
get rid of the sod.
Get rid of the sod.
Plan for a space in sun. What's
sun,
next?
slope. Maybe you need to amend your soil, peat or a little bit of sand, definitely some calcium.
Yeah,
calcium
compost manure.
Compost. All that's good. Here in the Midwest, you really need to beef up on adding the lime to the soil, because that's a lot of times people come in, they've got these tomatoes that are all rotten on the bottom and they think they've got a disease. It is a calcium deficiency.
Blossom end rot.
Peppers are the same way. So calcium each year.
We were talking about not getting overwhelmed. If you could recommend for somebody who's doing like a beginner, they're very beginner stages and they're starting a garden, and you don't want them to do a million things at once so that they can kind of get
Plant
their bearings.
what you eat.
Okay, I was going to say, what are like 3 vegetables you would recommend? But just what you would eat, so it doesn't matter.
Tomatoes, peppers.
The classics.
Yeah, are the 2 biggest things. Corn, unless you've got a huge space, I wouldn't do corn.
What about carrots? Oh,
strawberries, asparagus,
onions.
An onion.
She's like, how dare you not say onion?
Strawberries and strawberries and asparagus are probably one of my 2 favorite things out of the garden.
Yeah.
English cucumbers.
English cucumbers.
I mean, zucchini. Bob doesn't. Some people do.
Zucchini's just wet.
Sharon makes a zucchini cake, though, so I like it.
So that's where zucchini comes in. Cake. Yeah.
Cake. Nice. What are your favorite things to plant in your gardens at home? Or do you even have a garden at home, Bob?
I do not.
I was going to say, you garden here.
I don't. I garden here. Many people ask me, oh, I bet your yard's just full of stuff. It's like, no.
People say that all the time to me in the spring. They're like,
garden.
Your place must look amazing. And I'm like, no, I have no time to do my place because I'm here every day.
My work is my garden.
Yes. Yeah. But Sharon, you like to keep up with your garden at home. You have like farmland and everything. So
I just love peppers.
Yeah.
Bring them
Peppers are one of those things that they're
freeze
pretty to look at. Not only do they taste good, but they're pretty to look at. They're tactile. They're fun to feel. It's kind of like eggplant, too. Beautiful color. Nice texture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
those cucumbers, my squash that I like.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Perfect. So what are some, you were saying some things that people need to keep in mind when they're starting in a beginning stage. What are some things that they need to, or some biggest mistakes that people make in the past?
Overwater.
Okay.
Oh,
Once they're
oh my
established,
gosh.
I mean, when they're transplanted, you need to keep them moist. But I mean, I hardly water my tomatoes once they're established or my peppers. I watch them. Maybe they wilt. Then I water them.
When I was a kid, we had huge gardens, but they weren't where we lived. They were on another property that we had. And we never watered our garden. The only time anything got water is like if we planted actual plants like peppers or tomatoes. They got watered when we planted them, and then Mother Nature did the rest.
I was going to
So,
say, was there pretty consistent rains at the time?
yeah, I mean, has it changed weather-wise? Yes, some. But if you're gonna water your garden, do it once a week, no more. There's just no reason to water it
And that, like,
anymore.
our watering recommendations include rainwater. I feel like people forget
Rainwater
that.
is great if you can, harvest that, obviously, it's best to use. And then you wanna water underneath the foliage. You're watering the soil, not the plants. Yeah, keep the plants dry as possible because you're just asking for mildew and molds.
So it's not really time to start planting gardens right now, but what are some things people should do to prepare? I know we talked about, like, finding a good area and stuff, but what are some things people should think about when starting it?
Well, when to start it? You can plant tomatoes and peppers, you're definitely looking after the 15th of
Yeah.
it could even be later, depends on the
And
weather.
people always get so eager about those.
There
Like
Yes, they do.
April, they're like, "Where are your tomato plants? You don't have them out yet." And we're like, "No, because you kill them if you take them
Yeah.
home."
I mean, temperatures need to be consistently warm for that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
There's cold weather things like potatoes you can get in pretty early,
Mm,
onions you can
kohlrabi.
get kohlrabi, any of the
Radishes.
cruciferous crops like broccoli,
Peas.
cauliflower, peas are another one that can take cold. So there
So
are
when
things you can
would you start
early.
those outside?
I mean,
Again, it depends. Could
I'm
be
going to say
anywhere
middle of
mid to late
April.
April. Yeah,
Okay, so even mid to late April is still the early side.
absolutely.
Okay, so it is like currently it's way too early, but
Way too early.
something that you said a couple years ago, I think that resonated with me. Like when you're planting your garden, you were telling somebody one time to think about recipes that you want to make.
So
And that you could like what, so then like when you're thinking about that recipe, think about like, okay, and what do I need to grow that's going to do well in that recipe? Like
Sure.
tomatoes for a pasta thing, or,
Tomatoes,
that's very basic,
yeah.
but
Yeah, that's a very good point and you had said that earlier, plant what you're gonna use.
yeah,
Don't go out there and just plant a whole bunch of stuff that looks fun.
yeah,
You
like make
actually
it
need
intentional.
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna do, like, any canning or anything, again, dill would be another
That's
thing,
right.
basil, cilantro. There's a lot of herbs that you could go along with those tomatoes and peppers.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I think we forget about herbs sometimes, but
Yeah.
they're
Well,
growing.
and two, from when I started in this industry to now is hugely different when it comes to herbs. I mean, herbs were just kind of, you did it a little here and there, but
Yeah.
now it's,
Parsley and dill.
yeah, now, yeah, people grow a lot of different
Yeah.
herbs.
We sell a ton of herbs.
But you can't have too much basil.
Yeah. Never. So for veggies, do we start most of them from seed or plugs?
Vegetables, we do all from seeds.
Okay. So how long roughly does it take for it to get from the seed to like the plant size that we grow in
Well,
May
it
or that we
depends.
sell
Now,
in May?
so like onion seeds we sowed in January.
Mhm.
And
Right.
they're up about what 4 or 5 inches,
Yep.
and let's
So
see,
the
but
size they are in May, that's 5
it,
months
it
of
it
growing.
takes a while to get them
Yeah.
going. Yeah. Other things, 6 weeks for some things. That's how quick it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause I think a lot of people don't realize, like, I mean, I'm over here just like bragging about your guys' process and how like incredible it is, but I don't think people realize like it's 5 months of work to get one little 6-pack of onions.
Yeah.
Like we started those 5 months ago.
Yep.
And so when you see them here in May, that started 5 months ago. So I guess what would you say is like the benefit between buying their plants for our customers that come here, buying their plants locally through us versus like going to the store?
Yeah. So the flavor, as I had mentioned earlier, is a huge thing. With tomatoes especially. I'm going to hit this tomato things again. Most of the tomatoes that you get in stores are grown in greenhouses. They're beautiful. They're incredible looking. They're perfect. There's no scars. There's no splitting. There's no flavor. Again, it's just wet. I never buy tomatoes at the store ever.
Well, farmer's market
I
or something?
only eat tomatoes when they're ripe here.
Okay.
Now tomato sauce.
He's sneaking them
and
off the
stuff.
plants here.
Yeah, tomato sauce or something like that. Obviously, you can buy it at the store.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing about taste too, with like tomatoes, is these people that are out there watering their gardens every day. You're diluting the flavor of the tomato.
Too much water. You're
It's
just
just
filling
like-
it with water.
Yeah. So again, wet. It's just like growing grapes. They grow grapes in arid areas, so the flavor is stronger. So there's not as
Oh.
much moisture in them,
Okay.
which
Interesting.
intensifies the flavor. So, yeah. Do you have anything to add to that?
No, just using the right fertilizer too. People put too much nitrogen on their tomatoes. So you have all this foliage. So you want to
Right.
increase your phosphorus.
Which is the middle number, by the way.
Yeah.
So that kind of leads me into another question that I was thinking of. So I was asking you about like store-bought versus like growing your own. But then what about like other garden centers or grocery stores? They get vegetables in too, but they get them shipped in from another grower
Yeah.
somewhere else. So what is the difference between like buying the plant, like whether like if you're going to plant them yourself, buying the plant from them who's just getting it shipped in and turning it over quickly versus buying the plant from us who's been growing it and in control of
Because
everything?
you've got somebody here that knows what they're doing. Give you the knowledge that you need.
Yeah, exactly.
They're happy plants.
Well, and that's what when you said the fertilizer thing too, I was thinking that those places don't have control over how those plants are grown, whereas we have full control for the last 5 months.
They're
Right.
lucky if they get a drink.
Well, and the
Yeah.
other thing about, you don't know where those plants come from. It could be from another state. I'm all about shopping local. I mean,
Yeah.
that's so important. And I know that the world has changed so much and, everybody buys stuff online and
It's easy, but what we're doing is not easy.
No.
And we appreciate when people support
and
that.
plants don't like to be shipped, by the way.
Yeah, it just
Even some of the tropical things that we get in, like hibiscus and stuff that we just can't grow because
Mhm.
our season's not long enough. They go through a transition period when they get here. It takes them a couple weeks to come out of that shipping
Yeah.
mode.
Yeah.
So one thing I wanted, before we go any further, Sharon had brought a couple bags of fertilizer.
Oh yeah. You had them hiding over. Oh my gosh, I didn't even see those down there.
All right. So where is the analysis on here?
I think that one's
Should
on the
be
back.
on the. Okay, so we got 4, 10, 6. 4 is nitrogen.
And this is for any fertilizer. The first number is always
First
nitrogen.
number is nitrogen. That's going to give you food for your leaves and stuff. So 10, that's phosphorus. That's for your fruit. So that's
And
very
roots.
important. Yeah, they need lots of phosphorus. And the 6 is the roots. Well, the roots are pretty important too, because if you don't have a good root system, you're not going to have a good plant. Oh, that's the now. So that, and a lot of people use like 10, 10, 10 on their garden, and that's okay. But
Mhm.
if you're struggling with the tomatoes, probably should go with something that's higher in phosphorus. And the other one that Sharon had brought up.
Sorry, mics are in the way.
That's okay.
It's just because I like big onions.
So, yeah, a lot of people come in and they said, I have trouble with onions. Well, there's a twofold thing here. You're not using the right kind of fertilizer. Plus, the soil in Iowa is super heavy for the most part, unless you live along old riverbed or, along the river someplace, then it's lighter. But we have a lot of nitrogen going on here.
What is it?
And onions love it.
21.
A lot of nitrogen.
Onions love it.
So you put that up and down through your rows of onions.
I side dress it.
Side dressing. Yeah. So
Is there anything else
Good
you would
for
do that
onions.
with other than onions? Or what would you recommend this product
so
for?
that's a lot of nitrogen. I don't know that
Yeah.
anything else would be in the garden.
Maybe some garlic.
Garlic would be in the
Okay.
garden. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something that you want to really bulk up. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay.
So that's just a little bit about fertilizer.
So why did I think the first number was started with an L? Because I was trying to make one of those memorizing things. I forget what you call them. But the other day, didn't I say love Bob really? And I said something. That was how I would
I don't
remember it.
remember what we
Because the middle number
I
was
remember-
blooms.
Yeah.
Because we were talking about bloom booster. So Marlo, please. Marlo's hacking on the ground. Sorry. But
He's coughing. Yes, I do.
yeah, she gave him laryngitis. But I thought I said like love. Oh, leaves. Because we were talking about what they're for.
Yeah.
So like the nitrogen is for leaf
Leaves.
promotion. So like when you're talking about annuals, that's for like if it's higher in the nitrogen, that's going to help the leaf promotion.
Right.
The middle number promotes the
with
blooms.
Phosphorus.
Down and all around. So
Up is the
is
leaves.
for your nitrogen, and your down is for your phosphorus, and all around your potassium is for your plant strength.
Okay.
So it was always up, down.
See, I was like, how can I remember that? And I'm like, love Bob, really? Because I was like, he was saying leaves, blooms, roots.
Yep.
So that's how I like remember the order. But then of course I forget what like it actually is. So it's nitrogen, phosphorus,
Potassium.
Okay, now I got to learn another saying for that. Okay. Anyway, last week we did Drinks in the Dirt and I was doing these greenhouse tours. And so I personally got to see a lot of people like being surprised at some of the things that I was saying and just like not realizing all the work that goes into it. But what would you guys say you think people are most surprised to learn about growing and the production side of things?
I think that people don't realize how much time
Yeah.
goes into it and how much space it takes.
Yep.
And is another thing.
Every ounce of space we have is used.
And then the whole gas usage too. I
Oh,
mean,
my.
we go through a lot. We've been fortunate this winter that we haven't had any grossly cold days. I mean, we had a few, but
Yeah.
not too bad. But
Yeah, I'm like, you want to talk about the vendor fair?
but-
January 26th,
Yeah,
it was like negative 20 degrees.
yeah, we had some
You don't have
furnaces
your
going on that
greenhouses
day.
going.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are there things that you guys grow that you grow them more of them here because they do especially well in our area? Or is it just kind of like a mix of all the things we've kind of been talking about already?
I would say a mix.
Like
would
we have a
say
lot
so.
of things that do pretty well in Iowa.
Yeah.
I mean, we're literally known for farming. So,
Yeah.
Right.
So what are your guys' favorite vegetables to grow and why?
My two favorite things out of the garden are asparagus, which is not immediate turnaround.
Yeah.
You're putting that in there, and 3 years later, you've got some good
Okay,
stuff going.
can we pause and talk about asparagus? Because every time in the spring, I don't feel like I know enough to speak on it to people. Can you give us the rundown of how asparagus works? If you were like, I want to grow my own asparagus, what do I need to know?
You get that crown.
You want to dig a trench about 6 inches deep. Lay your asparagus roots out. Cover them with 2 inches of soil or so. And then as they grow, keep filling that trench in until it's level with the rest of the ground. That way, getting those crowns in deep like that, you're going to get nice fat stalks. Now, some people prefer skinny ones. It's just more work. You want some nice sturdy fat stalks. And then it's always good to have some kind of stanchion or cage to grow it in, because once it gets big, which you have to let it grow all summer. Everybody thinks you can harvest it, and then just mow it off. Well, it takes regeneration all summer long to make a good plant for the next year. So you want some kind of thing that it grows up. They talk.
Words are hard.
Otherwise, it's going to want to flop down and just lay on the ground. So prop it up with some kind of cage or a stanchion.
So how long does it take, like from the moment I plant an asparagus plant that I purchased from Culver's in the ground, how long until I can actually eat the asparagus? Because isn't it like years?
It's like 3 years.
Okay, so if you want asparagus in 3 years, come get your plants this spring.
Yeah,
That's right.
The other thing too that I had mentioned was strawberries.
Yes.
Again, 2 strawberries. I love strawberries so much.
I love them.
But I never buy them at the store because they're totally tasteless.
And half of them are moldy.
They look good, but there's no flavor. And you cut them open, they're white. They shouldn't be white inside. They should be pink. So
I feel scammed by the store.
everything.
There's different varieties also.
all the vegetables and stuff that you buy in the store are all been bred to have longevity or shelf life.
So they're just like filled with water.
They're
Is that why they're
they're
white?
well, no. I mean, there is a lot of moisture there. I don't know why they're not right. Well, for one thing, they're picked green.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know how they're harvested. I
Um,
know how mine are.
way too, way
And
too
that's why you
early.
do it yourself, because you have
Yeah,
control over it.
and berries too. I've noticed too. I eat a lot of raspberries and a lot of blueberries. Blueberries are pretty good that you buy at the store. But raspberries, no flavor.
Yeah.
Well, Iowa doesn't have the right soil in most places for blueberries
Yeah,
because it needs acidity.
you have to have lots of amendments there. But can be done though.
So we talked about like your favorite vegetables, what we recommend for beginners. Do you guys have like an underrated vegetable that you think like is so good and you would recommend growing?
Well,
This can be
two
more
things.
outside the box, not necessarily for beginners.
Two things come into mind are sweet potatoes and squash.
There you go.
Yeah. Sweet potatoes we were just talking about have been so popular lately.
They're so good. They're so good
They
for
take up
you.
space though
And
in my
it's
garden.
Yeah.
like squash too. When Sharon and I were kids, you'd go to your grandma's house and she'd make squash, but she'd mash it up and salt, pepper,
But now you roast
but roasting. Oh my goodness. It's so good roasted. You just cut it up and cut it into cubes and a little bit of olive oil, any kind of seasoning you want to put. I wouldn't get too crazy with the seasonings because you don't want to lose that squash flavor. But roasted, amazing.
So-
say kohlrabi.
Kohlrabi.
That's something I prefer raw.
Sharon's like, I'm just going to throw out my one-word answers because you can't hear me talk. What are some common problems other than the blossom end rot that people tend to run into with their vegetable gardens and that they should kind of be aware of?
Powdery mildew.
Powdery mildew.
Which comes from watering too much
There's
and overhead
varieties
watering.
that are more resistant.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
cucumbers or anthracnose
Yes. And squashes and watermelon too.
or squash borer.
Squash borer. Yep. It's another one.
I think a common issue people have is pests. So how would you recommend people deal with pests without overcomplicating it?
So I would say the first thing would be keeping your garden clean, getting rid of any debris, keeping the darned weeds out of it because weeds attract bugs more than plants, just garden plants do. The other thing, I guess, if you do get infestations of something, the go-tos are 7 or 8 for the most part. They're fairly low toxicity, can be used like a week before harvest. You need to wash your vegetables, obviously, after using them.
I guess sometimes I'll take the hose and just blast.
Yeah.
Use the water.
Yeah,
Force
just spray them
them
off.
off. That's-
Power wash
yep.
your vegetables.
Or when those tomato worms show up, I just cut off the branch.
Okay, now I want to talk about tomato worms.
You have at it.
I find them fascinating. They're and if you don't know
Unpopular
what they are,
opinion.
they're like as big around as my thumb and longer.
Juicy and green.
They're very juicy, but they turn into the sphinx or
Moth.
butterfly moth.
Oh.
So my suggestion with that
That's cool, but
is
those
you
are
should
not-
always plant an extra tomato. Doesn't matter what it is, and just move them. If you find you've got them, just move them to that one plant, and because once they start feeding on something, and all caterpillars are like this. Once they started feeding on a certain plant, that's the only plant they're going to feed on. They're not.
Okay.
They're not going to change species of plants.
So basically plant a decoy.
You're planting it, yeah. So just take them and move them to that plant you're going to sacrifice, and they're not going to kill it.
And Sharon says blast them off with water.
She
I
doesn't
say
like
take them on a walk.
yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So what's one simple tip that you guys can suggest to somebody for them to drastically improve the success of their garden?
Oh, keep off the hose.
That
I can't harp enough about that enough because people just overwater.
Yeah.
I've gone to raised beds with my age.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's a good point too.
I
You know,
love
not
my
having to
raised
bend over.
beds.
Yep.
Yeah.
I can plant sooner.
Yeah. It's
I have great soil that I've made myself, basically.
Yeah. Oh,
So-
can we talk about that really quick? We have so many people in the spring asking about like if I'm doing a raised garden bed and I need to filler without paying for the expensive soil. Like, because we have vegetable soil mixes. What's the recipe that you guys kind of tell people, like, include this, a third of this, a third of this, a third of that, or whatever, and mix it all up? Or can they do like black topsoil and dirt on the bottom as a filler? Like, do you put compost in it? What is your recipe for a raised garden bed?
You talk about that.
Okay. Mine personally, I'll do like 50 to 60% topsoil.
Okay.
And then I'll use the other 30%. I'll do compost and manure. And then I'll put an aeration, ingredient like vermiculite or perlite, and or is that coconut core?
The
And
core.
peat moss. And I'll mix all that in, and then I'll just feel it. So if I need to add
So
something,
you
to
mix the
apples-
topsoil. You don't just
Yes.
use the topsoil as like a base layer.
No, I mix it
No,
all together.
it doesn't drain well enough to
Okay.
use as a base layer.
So topsoil, about half topsoil then, 50 to 60%.
Yep, and then everything else I just mix in.
And-
A third, but
Yeah.
I was going to say, so is it really not that specific? Is it just like as long as you have the good stuff mixed with topsoil?
I do think you need some topsoil.
Yes.
Otherwise, it's going to be too light.
Longevity of it
Yes.
too.
Okay.
Because a
But every-
lot of the synthetic, well, it's not synthetic, but a lot of the potting mixes, like Miracle Grow and other things, it really degrades quickly.
I use
You
a lot
know,
of that cotton burr compost.
And it
Okay.
kind of veering off into another direction here. But after a year's of seasoned use of potting soil, it's done. There's just it has nothing more to give. Now, can you throw it out on your garden, mix it in?
Mhm.
Sure. Can you throw it in a compost pile? Sure.
Mhm.
Can I use it, the same soil in my pot next year? No.
And that's for
Empty your-
anything.
em-
Annuals.
Empty your pots out yearly and
Okay.
start fresh.
Okay. And then I have to give you a shout out, even though you're a humble king, about Bob's soil. So we have our own soil mixture here, if you haven't heard. And basically 20 something years ago, Bob worked with a grower and he was like, this is what I want. I want this, 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 and this.
So,
Created
yeah.
his own soil. And that is what we plant all of our plants in.
Yeah.
So would you recommend, like, if people bought Bob's soil for the vegetable gardening too?
So what I would do is probably use half of that and half black soil.
But still put some
Okay.
compost manure
Still,
in.
yeah.
Because in your soil, you have the coconut core, the
Yes, the vermiculite or perlite, fir
Bark.
bark. Yeah, that's all in there. So, but you still need that topsoil.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Good to know. Well, I have some rapid fire questions for you guys.
Huh.
All right. First one, tomatoes or peppers?
Peppers.
Tomatoes.
Okay. Raised beds or in-ground gardens?
Both.
Yeah, I would say both because some people just can't get down there, and yeah, it makes sense to have a raised garden.
Okay. Favorite vegetable to snack on straight from the garden?
Radishes.
Straight from the garden. I'm gonna go with kohlrabi.
It's
Okay.
like radishes and cucumbers.
Okay. Most rewarding crop to grow?
Oh my.
I'm gonna go
My peppers.
with yeah. Now, so we grow a pepper here. Not many places grow it. It's called Carmen,
Oh, okay.
and Sharon brings me Carmen peppers every summer. They're amazing. They're like this long, about that big around, and they're the most brilliant red. You can use them for about most anything. You can fry them, you can stuff them. Yeah,
Let them get red.
but they're so beautiful.
It's peppers.
And taste good?
Oh yeah,
Oh, good. That's the important.
If there's peppers in heaven, Carmen's there.
yeah.
All right. And then hardest crop to grow?
Cauliflower.
Oh yeah. Cauliflower is tough. If you don't get it in early, don't do it. You have to.
And when is that? Like, when are you supposed to plant cauliflower?
Again, too weather dependent. I'm gonna say mid to late April.
Okay.
Hungry.
And then the thing with cauliflower, there are some varieties you don't have to do this, but you need to pull the leaves up in time over the crown of our head so you get it white. Otherwise, it's going to be green.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yellow.
Yeah.
All right. So we do a segment called Getting to the Root of It. And that's where like customers write in their questions. So these ones were more obviously vegetable based, the ones that I picked out for this episode. So Barbara in Des Moines says, I want to start my own garden, but all of my friends who are gardeners tell me that I need to invest in a raised bed. Do I really need a raised bed, or can I just grow them in the ground? And what's the best advice for doing that?
Well, in which we kind of have talked about that
Mm-hmm.
already. Raised beds are great. And myself included, elderly. I still would try to get down there and garden in the ground. But, there's some people that just can't.
Yeah.
And raised beds are great for that.
Well, and I wonder about raised beds because of animals and stuff. Do they still mess with them as much? Or
It does help.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and on my raised beds, they're connected to the ground, and they have hardware cloth underneath,
Okay.
so things can't come up from the ground
Okay.
into
Nice.
my beds. So, and mine are basically two by 12s on top of each other
Okay. Awesome.
in a square.
Yeah, pretty basic. I feel like everybody thinks that they need to invest in the new top of the line stuff and get these fancy raised beds. And it doesn't have to be that serious.
It
It's
should
just,
be out of cat water.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And gardens are fine right in the right in the
ground.
An old fire pit. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know people do. I've even seen people do certain tomatoes or whatever out of like 5-gallon buckets.
Yeah.
Um,
Maybe not enough water.
Bob's like, okay, that's where I draw the line.
I know people that do it. Tomato plants get huge, so if you're going to do something like that, you need to choose a smaller variety.
Okay. Gotcha.
And I'm not talking about the size of the fruit, because
No,
grape tomatoes are
bush early
probably
girl.
bush early girl, patio tomatoes, something like that. Because even like a cherry tomato,
Whoa.
they get enormous.
So our
5-gallon
5-gallon
bucket,
bucket planting
gonna
fine
do
for
it.
everything else?
Mm,
Not really.
I've seen people do peppers.
Yeah.
We have on the seeds, we have container seeds.
We do.
So we have small
Okay.
little zucchinis, a small eggplant.
That you could do in
You-
something
yeah,
like that.
Yeah.
So just know what you're planting, where you're planting it.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay, so Mark from Iowa City says, I'm new to gardening. Is it better for me to start from seed or plant starts? I've heard mixed opinions, so wanted to ask the experts.
So, which is another thing that we kind of
Yeah, we
talked
kind of
about
touched
already.
on this.
Small gardeners, there's no sense to buy up seeds and then pots, and then are you going to get a good quality plant? No. The plants that you're going to buy here at Culver's going to be much superior than what you can grow in your home. Because if you're going to do it at home, you need sunny window, cool room, air movement, additional lighting. Even if you think you've got the sunniest window on earth, it's still going to need more light than that.
Yeah.
Acclimating them back and forth.
Yeah, air movement. You have to have a ceiling fan or some kind of oscillating fan. What that does is strengthens the stem
Mm-hmm.
and helps kind of keep them short.
Plus, anything that we grow, I grow at home.
Yeah.
There you
Well, and I think too, like for the work that's put into these plants to make them like exceptional and what they are for us to sell in the spring, I think they're very fairly priced. I mean, $4.99 for 6 of them, like a 6-pack, or the singles are what, $2.99?
I believe so. So in 6-pack stuff,
My memory's gone.
Either way, they're less than
Yeah.
$5 for like a good strong plant to take you throughout the whole season. And
Yeah,
people pay
and-
that at the store for one fruit, like,
right. And so like with vegetables, not everything comes in 6-packs.
Yeah.
Cauliflower, broccoli, that kind of stuff comes in 6-packs. What else?
Onions.
Lettuces, onions. When it comes to tomatoes and peppers,
Yeah.
we only do singles, because who wants 6 of one kind of plant?
Right. It
Doesn't
gives you
make
more
sense.
variety. Like
Unless
if you
you're a
can just buy
huge
the singles.
canner. If you're a canner, you might want like 6 Rutgers or something like that.
Right.
But, the average person, you should plant 3 different kind of tomato plants.
Okay. So then Deb in Cedar Rapids says, how far apart should I place my vegetable plants and how much sunlight do they really need? We kind of touched on that at the
They
beginning.
need lots of sun.
At least 8 hours.
And distance between each other, it depends on what you're talking about. A tomato plant needs a 4x4 area.
Garden at
And
home.
so, and when you plant that, when you're spacing like that, and at first you're putting this little tomato in that 4x4, it looks ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I think people are duped into planting a whole bunch of plants.
Mhm.
Give it space. Yeah, 4x4,
Yeah.
definitely some kind of support system.
Right. Peppers, 2 foot, 18 inches.
Yep.
My onions,
Yeah,
4
it
inches.
just depends on what
And do the tags normally say that? Like how far you're supposed to be spacing?
Some of the
I
tags.
can't remember. Some of them do, I think, because I look at, like, especially the single tags. I feel like the veggie singles, they have it on there, like the spacing. But you can always ask us, of course. So, all right, we're jumping into my favorite segment. What's the dirt? So this is where we talk about either funny stories from the industry or the inside scoop on something that you want our listeners to know to get the ball rolling if you don't have anything off the top of your head. I was wondering if you could tell us a story about a time when you had to deal with weird pests or some of your favorite harvests or just whatever you want to share.
Weird pests, you probably got more than
Well,
I do.
the little wasp eggs that are on top of the tomato worm.
Oh,
Last year, I had one that was completely covered.
Yeah.
He looked still alive, but he was dead.
Yeah. So yeah, what they do is the wasp lays its eggs and then they feed on it.
Mhm.
And
Ugh.
it is weird looking.
Yep. But then I've had little kids, I try to get them interested and, it's like, do you like tomatoes? Oh no. But they like spaghetti and pizza sauce
Yep.
and ketchup.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I
and
have to
I know several
'em.
adults too that well,
He's literally talking about me.
no.
I hate tomatoes, but I love pasta sauce
Okay.
pizza.
Well, there you go.
Ketchup, I use it all, but I will not eat a tomato.
Were you that child? That's not good too.
Bob's like, wait a minute, she's in the room. Yeah, it's me. I'm a picky eater, which is why I don't garden now.
I know a lot of other
Yeah.
adults that are the same way. Love ketchup, love tomato sauces, but don't like the
Yeah,
tomatoes.
me. And I love orange juice. Don't like oranges. I don't know. I don't know if it's a
So-
consistency thing or a texture thing or what. I don't know. But
I guess I like it because the grandkids would come and they'd get to pick the strawberries and things from my garden. And now I realize they've come back, this last winter, and now they like to be outside and grow things themselves.
yeah.
So
That's fun. It gives them ownership in it. And I've seen a
Right.
lot of schools too that I really appreciate how they're starting vegetable gardens for their students, and that's part of their unit, and they go out and we've seen some like high schools and things that we've done tours for where they do like pollinator gardens too with perennials. So it's kind of cool to see schools really pushing that and getting more interest in
It
that.
is.
Yeah,
And
so I appreciate
I've
that.
seen that too, yeah.
Well,
It's
something
awesome.
kind of funny for my what's the dirt in terms of vegetable gardening, even though I don't even work up in like growing houses, every single year we have troubles in the hoop houses of like rabbits and everything
Rabbits.
eating our plants. And then I think it's actually Anne who works here now is the one that said it. So it might have been a couple years ago when I was saying that on a tour. I said, like at Drinks in the Dirt, I said, this is what we struggle with, blah, blah, blah. And then somebody was like, can you just like chicken wire around the hoop houses? And we were like,
That's
yeah.
that's
Yup.
what we've done. We started out with one, worked pretty well, so now they're all that way.
Yep. So now we have chicken wire around the hoop houses, and so they can get the proper airflow.
Yeah, well, and two, we're out here on the edge of town. There's a
Yeah,
lot of critters.
yeah.
I'm always amazed after a snow coming and walking to the greenhouses, how many tracks of different things you
Yes, from overnight because we don't see them during the day.
rabbits, tons of coyotes. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a plethora of things out here.
Yeah. The only thing we really see during the day is the geese.
Yeah.
But then, you see all these tracks in the snow, and we're like, where are you all? Like, where are you coming from?
We have a couple of mink that live here in the property.
Yeah. And I never actually see them, but I hear about them all the time.
Well,
It was a groundhog.
Groundhog.
Groundhogs. We've had groundhogs. Yeah. So
Okay.
there's always
Okay.
plenty of critters.
All right. Well, I guess if you guys don't have any more dirt to share besides the ones under your fingernails.
Yeah.
So what is one piece of advice that you would give somebody starting a vegetable garden this spring?
Ground prep is the biggest thing.
Grow what you eat.
Grow what you eat.
Grow what you
You're
eat.
going to have success that way.
And start small.
Yeah.
Don't 10 by 10 area. See how it goes for you. See how much work it is, and then go from there.
I do grow a lot of things that I don't eat, But I give
Yeah,
them away.
but you give them away, yeah. Yeah, and we did the food pantry, we did Feed Iowa first, and we'll probably do that again this year, but we've been collecting year after year just from our customers and other people who have an abundance of food in their garden, and they don't want it to go to waste. We were collecting, usually in August we do it, and we collect extra vegetables, and then we donate that to the food pantry, so that's super fun too. Do you guys have anything else you wanna add before we wrap it up?
Come see us.
Come see us.
Shop at Culver's.
That's good advice, Bob. All right, well, that's all we have, so that's the dirt.